What is happening, guys? ARCHIEzzle here, and welcome to another video, Archies. I hope you guys are having a great day. For today's video, like what I promised, I got one of my soldiers here, Private Juan Zanella. How are you, man?
I'm doing great.
He's back here on holiday block leave, right?
That's correct.
Okay. We're still here in Brentwood, California, 94513. That's my zip code. And it's not really about me. This video is about himself, about his training, basic training, AIT, and his army story. So I'm gonna pass the mic to you and just introduce yourself to the audience.
Private Zanella. I went to Fort Jackson
It's
for
okay.
basic training.
Okay.
And I'm currently at Fort Lee in Ordnance doing my schooling, my AIT.
Okay. What is your MOS?
I'm a 91 Fox, which is a small arms and artillery repair.
Okay. Can you elaborate a little bit about that? What they do?
What we do is we troubleshoot weapons and weapon systems and we fix them. We also make sure that they're up and running and making sure they're safe for the soldier who is using them.
You guys probably don't know, Juan goes to the local high school in my area where I work at, a medical high school. So they focus on medical stuff. And I've seen him there when I do classroom presentations and talk to students and teachers. And I want to ask you this, since we're in that topic, why did you join, or I think the Army wasn't your first choice, right?
No.
Let's start from the beginning. Why did you decide to join the military, from doing the Navy part up to the Army?
Well, I knew I wanted to serve my country in one way or another. And I've always wanted to do something in the military since I was little. So it was just an option for me that was always there for me. And I was first going to do the Navy, but I found out that the Army has more options when it comes to choosing your job or it comes to where you're stationed at. You get more freedom to know what you're gonna do instead of just randomly getting orders to be on some ship for an extended amount of time, and you also get to go out more than the Navy does.
Okay. How many weeks do you have left once you finish holiday block leave to finish your AIT?
I have about 2 months left.
Okay. I asked you this earlier too, before we started filming. How was the wish list? Because you said you want to get stationed in certain places also. Were you given an option or like a list that you have to fill out to go to what duty station you want to after training?
So the list has different options. So it has abroad and it has here at home in the States.
Okay.
And it gives you a list of per state and what fort it has in it.
Okay.
Yeah, so you decide your top 3 from there, and then you decide top 3 for abroad.
Okay, and then you'll find out once you get back in January, right?
Yes.
That's
you
awesome.
usually find out about a month prior to your end of schooling.
Okay. All right. How does it feel getting back here?
I mean, it feels great. Just relaxing.
Okay. I had him switch to his uniform while on block leave. Hey, he's just representing the Army, and I am too. That's why we make these videos and share our Army story and stuff like that. Okay, everyone wants to know about this. Okay, how was basic training like? Everyone, this is like a never-ending question.
It's basic training is your own personal experience. I'm gonna just say this for myself. Basic training had its challenges, but it's nothing that I couldn't pass through. It was more of a mental thing, saying you could do it. You just need 2 more miles. You just need to ruck that extra mile, that extra hour. Just making sure you don't give up on yourself. Because once you give up on yourself, that's when you start thinking, should I really be here? Do I quit now? When do I quit? No, it's like just knowing that you could push through it. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it hard for you? Was it easy?
It was in the middle.
In the middle. Okay.
There was a lot of things I was prepared for already, but there was a lot of things that the drill sergeants there helped me prepare for.
Okay.
For example, ruck marches.
Okay.
Those were, the first one we did was only about 4 miles, but for us it felt like 10, 15 miles for us.
Plus the weight, plus
the weight,
uniform.
yep. And so what they usually do is they build you up to that.
Okay.
So when we would go to the ranges or we would go to any other training, we would start out by carrying 10 pounds with us and walking a certain amount of time or a certain distance.
All right, let's talk about that training that you did for the Navy. That's a better way to say it, right? Before you joined the Army. What's it called again?
It's called the U.S. Naval Sea Cadet Corps.
Okay. So did that training help you out somewhat, way or form, before basic training for the Army side?
It helped me prepare in knowing how to pay attention to detail. Knowing what's correct, what's right from wrong, how to act, work under pressure.
Since we're talking about basic training, okay, what's the hardest part for you? I know you're really well prepared because of your Navy training before going to basic training and all that stuff. But what was the hardest part for you?
Keeping that self-motivation.
How'd you say so? Why?
Because once you're there, you're away from the first few weeks you're away from your family, and you really feel, for me, it was something that I've never done. I've always had that contact. Even when I went through the basic training for the Navy program, I was only gone for about 2.5 weeks. There, you're being exposed to a bunch of stress from drill sergeants just yelling at you. You feel really out of place because there's so many people from all over the world, all over the United States, and you just, that you've never met, you've never been, and then all of a sudden you're expected to be living with them.
Yeah.
And so you just feel like homesick. That's
homesick.
the word. Homesick. It's something that helped me too.
Okay.
So just knowing that there's friends out there, getting to know people, being more open.
I know you are, you got recruited here out of California. How was the food? Because I know California food is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
you were basic training, so how was the food?
The food was edible.
The food was edible.
It was edible. MREs. Okay. After about 3-4 weeks, you start to learn what MREs have what. You start to mix and match stuff from different people, trade them in. Yeah. Just making your own gourmet MRE.
So it's like a currency. Like if you have peanut butter, switch it, trade it.
Yeah, Skittles and M&Ms are high valued. And so is the French items. Toast. So is the French toast.
Okay. How about the dining facility, the DFAC? How's the food over there?
It has some good things. It just depends on the day. Because I was gone during the holidays, we had a Thanksgiving meal, which was really good. They have pies out, turkey. They have apple cider.
So a regular Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving dinner. That's really good. And then a regular DFAC day, you'll usually have 1 or 2 items open for for what you want to get. So it could be like a spaghetti, or it could be some sort of meat.
Did you eat the ice cream in the dining facility?
We were only allowed to eat it
at
twice.
A certain phase, right?
At a certain phase. Yeah. But they only had it open for about a few days, and then after drill sergeants noticed that they left it on, they put their drill sergeants' hats on there. So we're not allowed to touch drill sergeants' hats. So it's like you're there looking.
What happens? Okay, what happens if someone still sneaks in and try to get ice cream and the drill sergeant catches them? It's not gonna be a good day.
Once they leave the DFAC, then it's not gonna be a good day for them. But drill sergeants, they were telling us they're not allowed to say no or to whatever is allowed to in the DFAC.
I forgot to ask you, was it kind of hard for you because you know all the military terms and stuff like that for the Navy, switching to the Army side? Was it kind of confusing in the beginning?
It was confusing because I wanted to say sir or ma'am to a drill sergeant, and I was
cannot say that.
No, just the ranking system was tough. It took me a few weeks to get it down, but I got it down.
What was the craziest, I don't want to say smoking session or whatever, what's the craziest experience that you had when you yourself got in trouble? Or maybe not yourself, maybe because of someone. Because, if someone messes up, everyone has to get punished.
The craziest thing we did was sense of urgency drills.
Okay.
There was a drill sergeant that really knew how to work us on that.
Can you explain what sense of urgency
urgency drills is? For example, so you start by getting smoked or something, and then after about 20 minutes of being destroyed by your drill sergeant, he'll tell you you have 2 minutes to run upstairs and grab a pair of socks.
Okay.
And then everybody would just scramble, run upstairs, and if you're not back before the time, then you would have another 20 minutes of hardcore drills. And then after that time, he would be like, okay, you have 3 minutes to run upstairs and grab your camel pack, or if you didn't have it on, because that was a must. And then you would run upstairs, grab whatever, and then come back downstairs, and it would just continue on for hours and hours.
What would you say is the moral lesson or things that you guys learned from that training or from that experience?
Learning to pay attention to detail and meeting those time frames they give you. But
did you guys?
We met them a few times, and even that drill sergeant would be like, "Oh wow, you guys actually made it! Start timer and say you got 2 seconds to do this."
Okay. Did you guys actually build like strong bonds and like teamwork?
Yeah, it helps you because you would learn to help one another. So if your buddy was missing something, or you have one of you would just open your locker, grab 2 tan t-shirts, one for him, one for you, and then it would help with timing.
Yeah. But it was pretty chaotic, I bet.
The first few times it was chaotic because everyone's getting mad at each other. Like, dude, there was always that one dude that was always at the end.
Okay.
But you learn to help them like throughout training. You all help him or her, and then they and either PT, either getting dressed, paying attention to detail, listening.
It's all basic stuff.
It's
That's
all
what
basic.
it's there for. And I think Juan is one of those soldiers that it's really good with paying attention to detail and just doing what you're supposed to do and just getting it done versus complaining and whining and all that stuff.
Or the smirking of the lips will get us in trouble a lot too.
Because you're there for training. I bet some people don't have that mentality, but you had that good mentality. And I know as soon as I met you and you talked about this, you were just deciding which path, Navy or Army. But hey, did you watch the Army versus Navy game? The Army won.
Yeah, no, we weren't allowed to watch it.
That's because you're in training. You're in training.
I was in training.
Okay.
I found out later that day that they won.
Oh, there you go. Let's talk about Army PT then. How was PT in basic training? You said, was it hard or easy for you?
It was in the middle.
Okay.
Because I had gone a year about without doing really much training. So there was a lot of muscular endurance, I would say, is what to prepare for.
Did you see a lot of people fail?
There was a lot of people who would fail. Drill sergeants would make sure to work you, to make sure they focused on you, to make sure you got in that extra PT or whatever to help you pass that PT test. So on Sundays we would usually have PT days. We would play with PT cards. Okay. I don't know if you're familiar with those.
So whatever number is shown, you do the amount of reps for a certain exercise.
And then after, we would throw in little things. So after every 3 exercises, we ran a lap around the company.
How's a usual day in basic training like for you?
So we would wake up around 4:35, depending on what we were going to do that day. And we would PT till around 6:30, depending, because there's also other things that go in between it. So it's not like a full 2 hours of PT. Okay. It's an hour and a half, hour, depending on what you're doing that day and how much time you have. So you would do that. After that, you would go into your room to change into whatever uniform and grab whatever equipment was for that day. Go to breakfast or go to breakfast before that. And then you would start training all the way up till around 5 or 6.
5 or 6, okay.
And then you would get back to the company, prep for the next day, and go to sleep around 9. But sometimes it would be 10, sometimes earlier, depending on the training.
So you basically had no free time. Everything was free time. Everything was planned by the drill sergeant.
The only free time you had was on Sunday mornings. Church hours, yeah.
Okay. Did you go to church?
No.
Why?
I had a lot of stuff to do before that. Yeah.
It's an option. They give you an option if you want to or not. Obviously, it's free. How was the weapons? Did you used to fire weapons before the Army?
Not the weapon systems we use. So I would use just hunting rifles, shotguns, but not the assault rifle.
Okay. So what was your score? How was your weapons qual?
I got a 35 out of 40. Okay. It was just one away from getting expert, but hey, that's fine.
That's fine. You know, once you get to your first unit, you know, I'm pretty sure that's gonna get renewed every 6 months, depending on your training calendar or schedule. So get that expert next time. How was combatives?
Combatives? We didn't do that many combatives. Okay. But we only did about 4 weeks of combatives.
4 weeks of combatives. Okay.
And it was only on either Fridays or Saturdays.
Okay. As part of training
as part of training, yep.
So you trained also on the weekends?
On the weekends you train.
Oh, damn.
It's not a day off.
There's no day off, huh? So it feels weird comparing basic training because you're in AIT now, just on leave. So it's there's a lot more freedom.
Sundays they tell you, oh, you get days off, but it's just the morning and you're only allowed to do certain things. And then after that, the rest of your day is cleaning up the company, cars, or just preparing for the week.
How was the showers?
Showers?
In basic training.
Alright, the first few weeks, it was the first week or two. We had like 7-minute showers for 12 guys to shower, and I mean that was
so you just barely hit the hot spots.
Hit the hot spots, and everything else were baby wipes.
So nothing much has changed compared to when I went through back in 2011.
And then but it was just after that we would usually have enough time to shower.
Okay.
You would either get hot or cold water. It was never just hot water.
Okay, now that you're back for leave, you finished basic training a few months ago. I'm pretty sure you interacted with your family, some friends or old classmates. What's the most asked question they ask you about the whole training in general?
What was training like? What was the toughest thing for me?
Basically the stuff that I've been asking you.
Yeah, the stuff you've been asking me. Those are the most common questions. You get a few funky questions here and there from your friends, but that's mainly the question they ask. Okay. How was it for me?
All right. So I know we talked about basic training pretty much a lot already, over 10 minutes of video film and stuff. So what's the best advice that you can give people that are about to ship to basic training, and you know how to get prepared and stuff like that? Like a really good advice that you can give them.
Learn your ranking systems, learn your soldier's creed, soldier's song. Make sure you have that muscular endurance.
Oh, wow, okay.
Muscular endurance or endurance to be able to run, because that's usually what most people fail in at basic training.
I always tell all of my recruits, or all of my soldiers that are about to ship, like, the way I describe it, basic training is kind of like first day of school. Kind of sucks, but you'll get used to it. And even though you're a senior already, or you're done with basic training 4 years ago, it's still fresh in your mind. You won't forget about it, kind of like first day of class.
It's like a first day of class, and then it usually becomes like a routine for you.
Yeah.
Like, you know what to do. You're not getting in trouble as much. You get in trouble for little things, and drill sergeants just want to make sure you're squared away to go onto your AIT. And that's exactly what they do at AIT too. They just make sure you're squared away for your unit, and you make sure you're prepared.
How was AIT now for you, now that we rolled into that? How long you been in AIT right now?
I've been in AIT about 4 to 5 weeks.
Okay, advanced individual training. This is where you get trained for your specific MOS. Okay.
And every company, it doesn't matter if you're in the same battalion, is different.
Okay.
So for me, it's really relaxed. Okay. You get a lot of free time, and a lot of it's on you to making sure you get the information. So they really want to prepare us for our units.
Yeah, because you're learning your job now. That you're learning your job once you go.
They're not on you as much, but you're expected to meet a certain criteria of training.
Okay, so they basically treat you like adults now. Obviously, it's how much you put work into it. It's how much you're gonna learn into it.
Yes. So if your company as a one aren't squaring each other away, or are lacking in making sure you guys meet formation times, or you're in the proper uniform, then you would get sent back to basic training phases. Where they treat you like kids.
Now that you said that, is there actually drill sergeants now in AIT?
There's drill sergeants in AIT now.
Are they the same hardcore level, or a little bit toned down?
A little bit toned down, but they still expect that discipline out of you.
Has anyone break discipline?
Yeah, as a company, or as a company, we've all had our little moments of correction, but we just make sure everyone is squared away. You make sure your battle buddy is squared away, and they make sure you're squared away. So to keep each other out of trouble.
Yeah, that's what's up. All right. So any last word of advice, stuff that you want to tell the viewers?
Make sure you pay attention to detail in everything.
Okay. Can't stress that enough, huh?
Can't stress that enough. And making sure you pay attention to what your drill sergeant, their block of instructions are.
Well, it was nice having you.
Thank you.
Private One Zanella, I appreciate you guys. Post away a lot more questions down below, because I have a lot of other soldiers that are coming back from leave, and some of them actually are reported already in their first duty stations, working in their own MOSs. So let me know. Hopefully this was really helpful. This is something that is gonna be on the ARCHIEzzle channel. So 4 years after you've been in the army and stuff, like, you can look back into it and look at my old self.
Look how young I look.
Juan, actually, you matured a little bit.
I did.
I'm gonna show them pictures on the video how you were like a middle schooler the first time I saw you. Yeah?
AIT drill sergeants would ask, or at basic they would say, "Where's your waiver at?" They would be like, "You're in the wrong bus."
You're in the wrong bus. But again, thank you again.
Thank you.
Nothing but like good luck, and I know you're gonna be good because you're well prepared. And just eventually, if we end up being in the same unit once I go back to the real army, should be awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you guys for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you guys. ARCHIEzzle out.